In this edition of Veterinary Secrets, you're going to learn how to take your pet's temperature and the signs and symptoms to watch for in case they have a fever. Hello again, you guys. Welcome to December. If this is the first time you've been watching one of my videos in December, this episode is inspired by a viewer's question, and they asked, how can I tell if my dog or cat has a fever, they've got a higher than elevated temperature, and exactly how can I take their temperature? So that's what you're going to learn today. So a fever is defined as higher than normal body temperature in your dog or cat. In veterinary terms, that is called pyrexia. A normal dog's temperature is 101.5 degrees Fahrenheit plus or minus a degree, or 38.5 degrees Celsius plus or minus a degree. So that means 103 Fahrenheit and up, or 39.5 Celsius and up, means that your dog has a fever. For cats, a normal cat's temperature is 100.5 Fahrenheit plus or minus a degree, or 38.0 degrees Celsius plus or minus a degree. So that means 102 Fahrenheit and up, or 39 degrees Celsius and up, means that your cat has a fever. And then for interest's sake, a normal chicken's temperature is 107 degrees Fahrenheit plus or minus 2 degrees. That's 42 degrees Celsius plus or minus a degree. Our chickens are obviously much higher, have a much higher body temperature than us and our pets. So that means 109 degrees Fahrenheit and up, or 43 degrees Celsius and up, means that your chicken has a fever. So the best way to measure your dog or cat's temperature is with the use of this. It's an inexpensive rectal digital thermometer. There are other ways, and we have obviously these tympanum or ear drum measurement temperatures. They're not near as accurate, so still this is the least expensive way and the most accurate one. So you can get one of these less than $10 at most pharmacies. And what I want you to have on hand is also some lubrication, Vaseline, KY jelly. And as far as doing it, the other big point is you got to wait the full minute for the thermometer to beep. So just make sure you well lubricate the tip of the thermometer. It's going to lift Lewis's tail. So it just has to go just inside his rectum. It doesn't have to go deep inside, just enough that the tip's inserted. And then you need to wait. The majority of time you're waiting 30 to 60 seconds for that thermometer to beep. So I'm going to wait here so you can see exactly how long it takes. There are a number of different things that you're going to be looking at in terms of signs and symptoms, wondering, does my dog or cat have a fever? The biggest thing typically for most pet owners is that their pet seems off. All of a sudden their dog's withdrawn, he's not moving much, he's sleeping a lot. Or all of a sudden your cat, who's usually pretty active, meowing at you first thing in the morning looking for food, they're not doing that. So that's the first big clue. There's something off. Then obviously I would expect most of us are then going to go look at our dogs or cats and get a sense of, okay, there's something not wrong with you. What could it be? The first initial thing that often I found in veterinary practice is I would actually just go ahead and feel the ears, especially the ear tips. And for the majority of cats and most of the dogs, when they had a fever, the ear tips especially were very, very warm and hot. And so it's a real simple way to start. So you're not sure, you look at your dog or your cat, you do sort of a brief exam, and then while you're doing that, you go ahead and feel the ear tips. And if you feel them to be very, very warm and hot, often too you can just put your hand inside their groin, it's warm there too. And then you're going to feel, okay, there's something going on here fever-wise. So Lewis's thermometer is sort of stopped. So what you're doing is waiting. You can wait up to a minute or wait until the temperature stops rising up. So right now it's up to 37.9 degrees Celsius. I can show you that here. I think you can see it here. So for you guys in the United States, that's 100.5. Typically, as you saw on the slide earlier, most dogs are around 101.5, which is about 38.5. So plus or minus a degree is a pretty good range. I'm typically not too worried if the temperature is a little bit low. The biggest concern that we've been discussing is if your dog or cat has a fever and the temperature is too high. So it's important for you to know the normals of your pet. It's one of the big things I suggest is that you're regularly examining your dog or cat at home. You have a good sense what normal temperature is. So then you're going to know what abnormal is, and you go ahead and take their temperature, and then from there decide, what steps do you do next. A fever itself is typically caused by a bacterial or viral infection, and that would explain the variety of signs and symptoms that you're seeing in terms of your dog or cat acting off, being reluctant to move, them feeling warm. The big advantage of that is the body is elevating the temperature to make it more difficult for that bacteria or virus to multiply or replicate. But at the same point, many of our pets are then going to stop drinking and stop eating. And the big initial concern is they're getting dehydrated. So the first big thing is we want to try and determine what's causing that fever. So that goes along with a brief exam. And typically in practice, the most common thing I've found is we'd have these dog or cats coming in and they've got a fever. And more often than not, there's a puncture wound or a bite wound somewhere. So they've been into a fight, so it's locating that. And then the second big thing, like big takeaway you should be taking at home, is of all the different things you're going to try to remedy or treat your dog or cat with, is supportive care. So ensuring that they're not getting dehydrated, and that may mean that you're actually getting additional fluids into them. So you're supplementing them. That may be actually giving them something orally with something like a turkey baster, some type of electrolyte solution such as Pedialyte. In other cases, that's not working. It may mean even giving them something under their skin, such as subcu fluids. You can go ahead and watch that video that I've done on subcutaneous fluids. And obviously, if you're at all especially concerned, is taking your dog or cat in to your veterinarian so they can determine the underlying cause. And in some cases, then it may mean more additional treatment. It may mean IV fluids. It may mean antibiotics to treat that underlying bacterial infection. Thank you for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets. What I want you to do now is first click that link in the box above, and that can subscribe you to my channel. And then when you go ahead and click that link in the box below, I can send you my free books and videos on how to heal your pets at home with my top natural remedies.